Good morning, Rabbi Isai Menachem Mate. Lili Nishmasi Mimarasi Rishmas Mordechai. Today's shir is sponsored Refuah Shlema for Esther Bas Freido. Rabbi Isai, so I got this text message. Some of you have seen it. I think it went around. So here you have a poster that went up in I don't know, it's in the magazine, in the shul. So it's the shir, the Havdalah, the Yaknahaz, and here's Kutach, here's this, here's the Shofar, and here's the fish. So somebody put this on his status, which is a great idea. You put on your status, you don't have to ask anybody for anything. And people come, they join the shir just because you put on the status. And a Irish non-Jew writes on the bottom, he writes him, from Wayne Maggio. I have no clue what this is, but I think he's cooking a fish. I want to go. Okay. Anyway, it's Givaldi. So be careful what status and where you put it on. We're going to have people coming to get fish. That's what you're talking about? Yeah, so maybe you should go a little bit this way. Yeah. Yeah, let's say it. This is from Mr. Anonymous. Actually, let's do this one first. So last night, I had a little bit of a problem middle share with this Atbach. There's two nuns, and the last nun, the nun sofit, supposed to go together with a shin, not a hey. So he says, this is from Mati Berman, Eli Berman, Strauss's son. The Marsha asked the question, and the Sfas Emes has an answer, and he sent it to me, so yishkoyach for that. Mr. Anonymous, Avi Gargir says, I would like to point out a few things. Why is it that you never have wrinkled shirts? What the heck do you do? After one day of wearing my shirts, look like they went through a war. 2, your jacket also never has any wrinkles. Please reveal your secrets. 3, I can do without the socks, not feeling them. 4, do you have dry cleaning business or stay at home? I'm not going to say the rest. 5, your hair is always neatly combed. What kind of gel do you use? Maybe give some of your fashion tips. And Yosef Urban can really be your twin. P.S. Do you get Mando back? Do not like him anymore? Oh yeah? Oh, he's not here now, huh? You have not made fun of him in the last 2 weeks. Are you feeling okay? I got that one day in middle shir, so some chacham knocked on the door in middle shir, and the dog woke up and he started screaming and barking, woke up the whole family and woke up the whole shir. So I got a really nice email the next day. He says, if you don't get rid of your dog, your shir is going to fall apart. It's usher to have a dog. So I'm not exactly sure where he got that from. It says you're not allowed to have a kelev rab beisai, and it means a dog that will cause a woman to miscarriage. This is a dog this size. That's as much. He can't grow anymore, and whatever. There is the pasuk says, there's you're not allowed to switch a carbon for a dog. There's a problem with the dog. I guess some people have this thing against dogs. I did l'shem shamayim. I did it for my son in his yeshiva, but okay, I'll try to get rid of him for this guy.
Get rid of this guy. That's a better one. Exactly.
We don't get rid of anybody. Torah is first. I'd rather have this guy than the dog. Well, I'm not into the dog at all. But my wife, who hated dogs because she got bit when she was a kid, she got really attached to this dog. Okay, we'll see what happens. Since you have not read the last 100 emails I've sent, what do I need to do to get it read? Anonymous. Great. Okay, so that's why I read it. You want to know why I read it? Here's another guy. Hi, Rebelli. This email is regarding wearing flip-flops in shul. What I would say is never judge a book by its cover. We don't know where the person is at, so why they're wearing what they're wearing. All we know is the person might have an injury on their foot, so we need to be melamed schos. You did not get the point, Rabbi. That's exactly what I said. Don't say everyone besides the point that God is our Father and our Father wouldn't care how we show up to connect to Him as long as we connect. And that's exactly the point that I made is Hashem does care. And that's why I brought the pasuk. We could say that He doesn't care about a carbon. It could be a lame carbon. No, I care how you treat me like you treat a noble person, like you go to the ruler. That's what the pasuk says. So don't tell me that Hashem doesn't care when Hashem cares. You hear? Look at the pasuk.
You walk in the way some English with shoes. Hashem is very mad.
Or with a stick.
Get out.
Yeah. Okay. He didn't get there yet. We're gonna get there.
Right.
Do we have another minute here? Fine. Let's go. Let's see what happens. We have. All right. Top of Daf Nun Gimel Amud Aleph. Chasidim va'anshei ma'isa. So we said Chasidim would juggle va'anshei ma'isa, and they would say shirois v'sishbachos. Torah Rabbana Yeshmei Moimrim Ashrei Yalduseinu Shloi Bisha Ez Ziknuseinu. We're not embarrassed. In other words, in order to be a chassid means that you were always a chassid from day one. You were born like that. If you weren't a chassid from day one and you became a chassid later, that is called a Baal Tshuva. So the Hasidim would say, we are proud and praising our youth that didn't embarrass us when in our old age. Elu Hasidim Anshei Ma'isa. V'yesh me'em ma'imrim, and some say, Ashrei Ziknuseinu Shekipra Es Yaduseinu. Our old age gave us forgiveness for our youth when we did Averis. Elu Bali Tshuva. Elu Beilu Oimrim. Ashri Mishal Echata. Praiseworthy is the person who didn't sin. Mishachata Yashuv V'yimchayloi Mamish. In Yana D'Yayma. Slichas. We're coming up to Rosh Hashanah. Do Tshuva. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu will forgive you Be'ezer Hashem. Tanya. Omer Olav Hillel HaZokein. Huh? Hillel HaZoken. What's Hillel known as? Anav. And he would say, Imani kan hakol kan. If I'm here, then everybody's here. V'meini kan, mi kan. So obviously, as the Vilna Gaon says about the people, Hillel is in the time of the Mikdash. The Vilna Gaon says, I understand everyone. I don't understand the level of the people in the time of the Mikdash. That I have no musig. We have no musig. So I'm saying, if he said this, everybody understood what he meant. And he meant is, he's talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's not talking about Hillel. He's talking about, Hashem says, if I'm here, then everybody's here. Eini kan, mi kan. And if I'm not here, be careful. If I take away this Beis HaMikdash, you're not going to have anything. Hu ayer mekain. La makayim shani oyev sham raglayim melichos oisi. This is referring, well, Taisus argues a little bit, but on this Taisus doesn't argue. The place that I love, then my feet will bring me there. In other words, im tavel beisi, ani ovel beischa. If you come to shul, you come to my shul, ani ovel beischa. I'll come to your house. Hashem's saying, if you come to my shul, I will return the favor and come to your house and give you a bracha in your house. Im atalot ovel beisi, ani lo ovel beischa. If you don't come to shul, I will not come visit you. Hillel is walking and he sees a human head floating in the water, and he recognized the face. Because I guess a skull would, I did a little research, a skull would actually sink. But a human head would sink initially, but eventually when it gets bloated, I'm saying this because obviously it had flesh, because he recognized this murderer, and he says to the murderer, "Oh my Lord, al teift atuf, because you drowned others, you were drowned yourself. You got it back. You had it coming. And those who drowned you are also going to be drowned eventually. What goes around comes around. Don't think you get away with it." Omer Rabbi Yochanan. Huh? No, I wanted to see if a head floats. I couldn't understand if a head floats. To me, it didn't make sense that a head would float, and because it felt like it was too heavy. A body floats because it has lungs and it's full of air, because it's heavier than water. I would think that it's heavier than water, and it is. It actually is. But as it decays and it starts bloating, and then it starts floating. What suit? A man's feet guarantee him and his death. In other words, we're going to see a Maisa here. La'atar de midbei, the place that he has to go to, Tamon moivin yosei. His feet bring him there. He doesn't know why he went there. In other words, if a person needs to die in this and this place, he has no idea. He somehow ends up there. Whatever he has to go to a Makim Sakana. We had these crazy tragedies. It just so happens that people end up in this place, and then Hashem brings the tragedy over there. Hanu tarti kushai. The Gemara says there are two kushai, and kushai, the Rashi says, means beautiful people. It's like a lashon saginar. You want to say somebody's beautiful, you say call him kushai. They worked for Shlomo Melech. Eli v'achio b'nei shisho soifrim the Shlomo havu. These are the names. Shlomo Melech notices that the Malach HaMavis is very sad. Omalei, Amay Atziva, my friend, why are you so sad? Omalei, the Kaboy Minoi Hanitarti Kushoy, the Yasvi Achi. You see these two guys, I need to kill them. So I'm sad. I feel bad. Such beautiful people. I don't want to get rid of them. That's what Shlomo Melech thought, maybe. Like, why is he sad? So what? He has to kill him. So kill him like you kill anybody else. But Shlomo Melech decided he's going to do something. He's going to trick the Malach HaMavis, Masrinu Lasi'irim, and he gave them over. We had the stories a few times. Shlomo Melech was good with the Shadim. He knew how to deal with them. And he gave them over to the Shadim. Shadrinu L'Mechoyz the Luz. Take them to Luz. Over there's no Malach HaMavis. Malach HaMavis cannot kill them over there. They died at the entrance of Luz. The next day, Shlomo Melech sees the Malach HaMavis laughing. Really happy. What's going on today? Yesterday I had a big problem. How do I get these two people, to Luz? They work for you, they're here. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't kill them. Their place to die, Hashem told me, they have to die at the entrance of Luz. It's a big brach. Shalom Aleichem, all of a sudden, Ma'am Shaneis. I don't know what happened, but they showed up in Luz. I killed them, Gevaldik. Point is that a person's feet are the guarantors to this idea. He doesn't know why, he doesn't know how. He finds himself in a certain place, and the Malach HaMavis gets him. Miyad podach shleima va'omar ragloid bar inish inun arvim bey. Person's feet are his guarantors. La'atar demitbei, the place that he must die. Tamon mevilin yosei. Tanyo. I keep on going back to that song. I forgot who sang it, but the song about the guys in Sabaro. The guy was in line in Sabaro, and he let the other guy go in front of him. How's it go, Levi? Frzansky, yeah. And then, so he was saved once from Sabaro because he let a guy go in front of him. So then he told the guy in front of him, then he found him in a hospital, he got injured from so he says, listen, if you ever need something from me, I live in America, give me a call. And then a few months later, he called him up, he says, I'm coming for surgeries. Can you pick me up? So he picked him up from the airport, and that's when September 11th, the towers went down in his office. Maisa Shahaya, I don't know if it's a Haya, not Haya, Kitzer, Kimat Haya. But this is like the reverse. Like your feet take you, where you need to be, that's where you need to be. If you're not supposed to die today, your feet will move you away. You'll go there, you'll not come there. The guy that put him in line, he had okay. Tanya, so I looked this up also. Somebody came over to me after Shir, says it's impossible to juggle 8. So I saw, no, you really juggle 8. People could juggle 15. But I did look for it, and they said in torches are the world record is 7. Right? You need a lot of height. Okay, so but in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, 8. Juggling. They don't touch each other. He put his 2 thumbs in the ground. He would kiss the ground. Those of you remember, like before they had these gateways going into the airport, they had stairs coming down the plane, and a lot of people would get off the plane for the first time and get down and kiss the ground of Eretz Yisrael. So this is from Brachas. We have Ishtachava and Kriya and Kida. So we're talking about this. This is Kida. And the picture is like, it's not so much like what I have over here, but this is the picture of Kida. He's on his thumbs, and he has to get up somehow from his waist, pick himself up, and that's very, very difficult. As the Gemara says, Ve'ein kol bria yichol elasis kain. In those days, nobody was able to do it. V'zui kida. Levi, ache kida kamed Rebbe. Levi showed Rebbe how it's done. V'itla, and he injured himself. He became a Baal Mum, I guess, for life. Asked the Gemara, V'gramalei, V'hagramalei. This caused him to become a Baal Mum. You shouldn't talk in a chutzpahdik way, klapi mala. Sharei adam gadol yitiach dvarim klapi mala. Levi said, what did he say? He says, Olisa v'yashavta l'cha b'amara im yu Hashem, you sit up there. V'yato mashgiach al bonecha, says Rashi, brings the Gemara in Tainus. You don't care about your children. There was a famine, and he said it strong. We had it a few times. Chana spoke a certain way. You're not allowed to talk like that. And because he spoke like that, itla, he became a Baal Mum. Says the Gemara, I'll explain to you. Ha v'ha garmale. Now what? There's a concept of nafal Torah chadad l'sekino. The Gemara in Shabbos Rashi brings. If the ox falls down, grab your knife, sharpen it, go shech him. If a person is in a bad matzav, bad sakana, that's where things could happen. So Levi, because he spoke in a certain way to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so he had a din on him. But he didn't die right, he didn't get his zaynish right away. When he put himself in that matzav of bowing in a certain way that puts your body, he convoluted his whole body, and he said, okay, that's the good time to get him. Nafal Torah, the ox was down in a bad position, grab your knife and get him. Says the Gemara, Levi hava metayel or metalel. He would also juggle kamei the Rebbe betamni sakine. He would juggle 8 knives. So knives today, I know also very much less today than 8. I guess knives are very dangerous. I'm not going to go into the whole story from the guy, my roommate in Passaic, that juggled my knife and slashed his hand open, and he. Don't tell me you don't know the story. I just said the story. What are you talking about? Okay. You don't remember it? Does anybody remember that story? Okay, next. They remember it. We're not saying the stories now. What? Chazer 5 times. 5. Yeah, it's not the better one. Now listen to this. Here's a better story. Rashi says, why would they juggle in front of him? You're not juggling in Tzimchus Beis Sheva. What are you talking about? Why are you juggling in front of such a chashuv person? Because Rebbe, and I saw this with my own eyes, you go to Reb Chaim Kanievsky's house, you become depressed. Mamish depressed. It's one cancer after another, machla, and a person that doesn't have children. I'm standing there in line. The guy in front of me, a baby with a brain tumor. I mean, how do you function? It's one after another, after another, after another. So, in order to bring his spirits up, they would juggle in front of him. That's what Rashi says. He had the tsar of Klal Yisrael, which reminded me of a story of the Satmar Rav. Somebody came to him and told him this whole maisa that his wife just died and his kid has machla and then his other kid this and that. So everybody knows he was very large. He took out a large sum of money and gave it to the guy. As soon as he left, the guy comes in and says, Rebbe, you fell for this guy. He's a known liar. He says, Baruch Hashem, I was so bitzar. I was just feeling so bad that these kids have machla and this and that. Baruch Hashem, he does. Okay, what? Yeah. My brother was last Succah, so I went to visit him. So he tells me he was in a taxi, and the taxi driver told him a crazy story, a terrible story. He says he was taking a crippled person in the car. He thought he was crippled at least, and the guy says, "I need a drink. I just need a drink." So he says he stops by one of these places, and he says, "Okay." He says, "No, I can't. I can't walk." So he said, the taxi driver says, "Okay, I'll get." And as he went out, he grabbed all his money's cash from his thing and ran away. So my brother gave him a nice nesina. And they're sitting there by the Suda, and all of a sudden my brother's aunt, from his wife's side, she says, I was in this taxi. And this guy tells me that just 5 minutes ago, he was taking this crippled guy, and he stopped for a drink. So it's like, kemat hoya, you can't fall. If you're in America and you come to Israel for Sukkot, do not fall for that guy's trick. Don't fall for these guys. Okay, anyway, how did I get to there? I have no idea. Shmuel Kamei, Shobar Malka, Bitmanya. So Shobar Malka was the king of Persia, and Shmuel would juggle Bitmanya Mazgi Chamra. This I looked up, I couldn't find. Glasses of wine, open glasses of wine, juggling, and nothing comes out of them. Abayo Kamei, whoever it is over here, Rabbo, Bitmanyo Bey, 8 eggs. By the way, we're about to, I just realized now, we're about to start Masechtas Beitza, and over here it says Beya. In America, they call it Beya. We call it Beitza. I'm just forewarning. Here's the word, it's in Aramaic, Beya. V'amrilo ba'arba Bey. There's only 4. And they discuss eggs, because of the Galgal Olam and etc. No, some say he didn't know how to do 8. Oh. No, because first they shock you, and they're like, "What's in pot? 8 eggs." Okay, it's only 4. Tanya Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya. We didn't sleep for 6 days straight. Why? We woke up in the morning. I'm a Levi. Did so Tamish Shachar. Misham l'tfila, Misham l'karban. First we davened, and then we did karban musaf. Misham l'tfilas musafim, and then we davened musaf. Misham l'beis hamedrash. I saw this beautiful. They went straight to the Beis HaMedrash. They got up early in the morning, tamid, the whole thing, and then they learned. After you learn, Misham la'achila ushtiya, then you had a suda. Misham l'tfilas hamincha, then we davened mincha. Misham l'tamish ben arbayim, then we had to do the other tamid. Mikam ve'elach l'simchas beis sheva, and then we had to dance away with the simchas beis sheva for the water. Asked the Gemara. So literally, and then the whole night, we danced the entire night, and the next morning, we do the tamid, and we do repeat. So we didn't sleep, not even 1 minute. Ask the Gemara, if somebody makes a shvuah, he's not going to sleep 3 days. You give him malchus, go to sleep right now. It's called a shvuah shav. It's a lie. It's impossible to not sleep for 3 days. And memela, it's like saying that this beam of wood is made out of gold. You're a liar, you get malchus. I did not look up this one. I bet you there's somebody that like David Blaine or somebody that could stay up for a week. What? Yeah. So I don't, over here, not fine. Like one of the Lubavitchers wrote into me that because I said I'm mamish looking for a pshat and why Lubavitch doesn't sleep in the sukkah. So he said, the whole thing, there's too much tumah, but you should know that the Rebbe stayed up the entire sukkahs from beginning to end. So they'll say, yeah, it's possible. But all these people, the Hamoinam, Malkin Oisoi, V'yoshin La'alter, what? That's what he said. This guy, I don't know if he knows for a fact. That's what he said. No, they slept. But as they're dancing, I can't picture it exactly. They're dancing, and he puts his head on the guy's shoulder. He takes a little Dremel and went with it. That's what it means. They didn't it wasn't Yishmak Asli with a what? In the Litva, here's a raya. The Litvaks are right in the way they dance. Yeah, okay. Anyway, fine. But that's not this. We're talking about Simcha Gdoila, or Simchas Beis Sheva. It was not a Litvish dance. I don't know, whatever that means. There were 15 steps. Here, Rabbi said, here we go. I don't know if you could see. He finally brought this out. Can you see this down here? No. Oh, here we go. Yaakov, your head is in it. Just maybe down. Here. These are the Chomesh Esri Malos right over here. It's okay, fine. 15 steps to go from the Azara into the Ezras Nashim down here. This is the Ezras Nashim over here. And this is the Azara. Says the Gemara, Rav Chizah told the one that was saying that God in front of him, obviously a big, huge Talmid Chachamim. Why do we have 15 stairs there? Why are there 15 stairs, 15 Shiram Malos? Bishah Shekara David Shitin, Kafat Ha'ima. So we learned a whole 3 machlokes. The shitin, the drainage for the wine, was it there, Mesheshis Mei Bereshis, Barashis, or did a human being do it? Obviously, Rashi says he doesn't hold to that. He holds David HaMelech did it. Or, says Rashi, maybe the pshat is, it was there from Mesheshis Mei Bereshis, but guess what? It filled up with a bunch of stones. He had to undo it. Uba l'mishtafa alma. So it says, Rashi brings a little bit of it on Amud Beis, but not really. There was a piece of earthenware on it, and I think it spoke to David HaMelech and said, listen, don't move me. If you move me, the world is going to flood. David HaMelech didn't listen. He took out this piece, and it wanted to flood the world. And that's why he said, Shira Malois Voiridan, and the water subsided. If his 15 Tehillim made the water go downwards, so why is it called Shir HaMalois? It should be Shir HaYardois. It's the song that made the water go down. Omar Le Hoyav the Karton. Oh, you just remind me. Very good kash. Sometimes from a good kash you have a good teretz. He didn't realize it until he asked the question. Hachi Itmar. David Shitin, when David HaMelech was undoing the pipes, the water from below came up. Wanted to flood the world. Omar David Meiki the Yoda Ishar LeMichtav Shem. So it seems like David HaMelech knew the answer to this question. And the reason why he didn't, says Rashi, because his Rebbe Achi Teufel was standing there. And you don't say halach in front of your Rebbe. So he asked the question. He says, does anybody know, could I write Hashem's name on a piece of earthenware in order to get the water to go down? Can I put it in there? Can I take Hashem's name and put it in the ground? We just turned to Amud Beis, sponsored by MDY Tehillim Group. For all those who need Shidduchim, Refuas and Yeshuos, please join the Tehillim.8mindaf.com and by Shlomo Lalezarian from Los Angeles in honor of my wife for sacrificing her life in order for me to prepare Shir Shkoyach. Leke de Omar Leimidi. Nobody said anything. Omar David. Called the Yoda Lemei Maveinu Oimer Yichonik Begroinoi. So this is kind of a trick. Look. If his Rebbe is there and he doesn't say anything, so his Rebbe is going to die for not saying it. And if he says it, great. His Rebbe is going to. If he doesn't know, so then I'll say it. So it's not. Says, yeah, I know pshat. In order to make peace between a husband and wife, the saita. So the whole procedure is you write Hashem's name in the parasha many times. It's in that parasha. You put it in the water. And it dissolves. Hashem's name dissolves. So Hashem says, I agree for my name to be dissolved in order to make peace between two humans. In order to make peace and save the world, certainly you should be able to do so. Now, I just want to point something very, very important. Oh, well, here, since you mentioned that, I'll talk about that in a second. But the Gemara Makis Daf Yud Aleph brings this Gemara and says a very interesting thing. That Kilalas Chacham Afilu Bechinam Hiba. If a Chacham like David HaMelech says something, for no reason it's going to happen. And in fact, for no reason Achi Teufel died by strangulation, by chenek. He said, Yechanek, so he died by chenek. So a Chacham has to be careful not to curse, because even if he wasn't over on his curse, he died. Because the words came out of his mouth. Once the words come out, it's a mess. So, Noam, you asked about Chil Shabbos and what do you say? Pikuach Nefesh. No, I saw them talking about, could you be merapa? Somebody has a disease. Could you write a kamei on Shabbos for the disease? The Rambam says he cannot because it's heebie-jeebie. It's what? It's hoichin yanim. It's not real medicine. Real medicine, zguli, very good. The Rashba argues. They bring a whole bunch of stories that there's somebody that drinks poison and they wrote a kamei on Shabbos and they spit up the poison. So somebody who's really good at it could. They try to bring from over here. Over here, obviously, It's well, you're saying that 100% would work. It's not zguli. Over here it would be 100%. So why do you even need a kavachomer? I hear the kasha. Maybe you didn't know if it would work. I don't know. Also, I don't know. Basic nisht. Good kasha. He's asking, since the world is about to flood, so what's the shaila? You take Hashem's name and you write it. It's not one of the Gimel Chamuras. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Amalei Shari, you're allowed to. Cause Hashem achaspa. So he wrote Hashem's name, and they say, Rashi says, I think, that it's the same piece, that piece that covered I don't know if Rashi says, but that's what they're saying. It's the same piece that covered that hole initially. He wrote Hashem's name on that chaspa, on that earthenware, put it back in there. And it went into the deep. And now the water went down 16,000 amma, which is 32,000 feet. The Nachas Tuvas, David HaMelech sees that now the world is becoming dry. You need the moisture from this water. The whole water table went down. It's better that it should be higher up so that there should be some moisture. Plants should live. So that's why it's called Shiram Malois. Now he said Shiram Malois to bring it up. It went down by the shard of earthenware. Now he said the Chumash, the Shiram Malois, the 50 Malois, and it came back up 15,000 amma, meaning it went down 16,000 amma, now it came back 15,000 amma, so now it's down 1,000 amma. Was 1,000 amma down. From here you see, you want to know where the water table is, it's 1,000 amma down, 2,000 feet down. Ask the Gemara of a Chazir in the Charinim Purto, but at the end of the day, you just dig a little bit and out comes the water from the water table. What do you mean? The Euphrates is really high. So anything, what they would do is they would dig out these tunnels and have the water from the Euphrates go up to any high place that's lower than the Euphrates. So if you dug in Bavel anywhere, you could get to water, and it's Mesuma the Pras. That's what it means. All the rivers, the Gemara says, all rivers come to Pras. Okay, so the whole world is like that. So we had that the different truas that they did with the trumpets. So here are the 15 steps. They went down 10 steps and they blew the shofar. So the Gemara wants to know where exactly did they go down. They're on the 10th step from the top or the 10th step from the bottom. What exactly happened? They went down 10 steps and therefore they're on the 5th step from the bottom, or did they only go down 5 steps and they're 10 steps from the bottom? We don't know. So we're quoting the pasuk that we say we in Bayis Sheni are not like those in Bayis Rishon. No, leave it. No, I need it. Don't worry about it. It's not going to fall. We got it. How could it fall? I'm not touching it. Oh, no. Tzaddik Imam is going to sit here just in case. All right. So we spoke in the Mishnah that, we didn't realize how bad it was. But in Bayis Rishon, they left the Beis HaMikdash down here. Can't really see it. They left facing this way, and their backs were towards the Heichal, towards up here. They left going that way, and their back was this way. Says the Gemara, but this is Psukim. And Bayis Sheni said, we're not like them. Anu leka, uleka inenu. We're not like them. Says the Gemara, obviously, if they're facing east, so their back is westward towards the Heichal, towards the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Unbelievable. I guess the greater you are, they're in such high levels, the greater the tumah and the mishigas was. They defecated, they went to the bathroom, spritzed it towards the Heichal Hashem. That's what it says. Matrizin. Unbelievable act of defiance to Hashem. It says, we worship the sun, pointing to the sun, and they went to the bathroom to Hashem. Unbelievable. So that's why, to undo that, we have to say, we're not like them. Isn't this a double lashon? And if it's a double lashon, repeating the same thing again, that's problematic. I mean, I heard this with my own ears many times. There are people that do this. Shma, 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 shma. Whatever. But it's a... What, I said the ayin good?
You got the person, you got the personality.
Whatever, there are people. It's a joke. Whatever. But you're not allowed to say Shema. Maybe la halacha you could. I'm just. Well, I don't want to hear this. Whatever it is, Shema, Shema. Kilo oimer moedim moedim. Obviously, you don't want to talk to two reshuyos and say that there's two Bari Oilams kaviyachol. So, by you saying it, it sounds like you're talking to two different entities. So, by you saying anu leka uleka einenu, even though it's slightly different, no, it sounds like you're talking to two different rishuyos. You're right. We have to stick in a couple of words here. They're talking about the Bayis Rishon. They bowed forwards to the sun. So it's another inyan. We're waiting for you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're waiting for you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So they're saying two separate things. So that's okay. Official Mishnah sponsored by Official. L'Refuah Shlema. What's her name? Braina Bas. Yenta Dvora. Akiva says. No way. Akiva, get over here. There's no way you. How do you know that? Akiva's a tzaddik. Wow. What a memory. What? He's been davening for her, and he's been paying attention to every word. Shimon has a good memory, this guy. Ein poichasim me'esrim va'achas tkiyos. Huh? He did? Which one? Oh. Thursday night choir. He has a good voice too. Give all that. Oh yeah, I remember he was in your choir, but there's no choir anymore. But he's in the Kinori choir. Okay, got it. All the milas. Hey, but some people just have it all. Such a memory, such a voice. Huh? You got some daughters. Stay away. No, listen. If they're anything like David, then they're amazing. You saw that kid? Okay, they're amazing. Do they do the Dafi daughters? Not yet. Okay. Zog the Mishnah. So there were 21. Now it's so interesting, right? We're mamish, we're slichas. We're Atad, Rosh Hashanah, and we're talking about the kiyos and the shofars. But these are the kiyos of the trumpets, nothing to do with the shofars. But, however, we do learn the halachas of kiyos from here. It's the same halachas. Every day there was at least 21 sounds of the trumpet. You could look at it two ways. 7 times 3, because every time, Minatayra, it's tkiya, trua, tkiya. 3 sounds. Tkiya, trua, tkiya. That's 3. So if they did any kind of thing, they opened up the doors, tkiya, trua, tkiya. That's 3. And they did this 7 times in 7 different places. By the Talmud, 7 times. So it's 7 times 3 equals 21. The reason why I'm saying that is because Rabbi Yehuda holds it's 7. It's not 21, it's 7. They're considered 1 mitzvah. Tkiya, trua, tkiya is considered 1. Yes, it's 3 sounds, 1 mitzvah. We'll see in the Gemara. I'm just pointing it out here. So, also another interesting thing to note is that midaraisa you need a tkiya, trua tkiya on Rosh Hashanah 3 times. Do that 3 times. Tkiya, trua, tkiya. Tkiya, trua, tkiya, tkiya. That's it. Go home. Yet, but we don't know what a trua is. We don't know if a trua is a very quick sound, or tu. Is it like a cry, or a cry, like that. So since we don't know, so we do tkiya, shvarim trua tkiya, and that 3 times. Then we do Tkiya, just the Shvarim, 2, 2, 2. And then Tkiya, just the Trua, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, because we don't know what it is. And we do each one 3 times. And we could get away with that, but we do it more because whatever. But Midaraisa, the Tkiya is Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya, times 3. Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya. Fine. And no more than 48, which is, in other words, 48 divided by 3, 16. It's either 6, it's the same thing. It's the same amount of sounds, but you could call it 48 or you could call it 16 because 16 times 3 is 48. How? Here we go. So if you look over here for a second, Gershon, I don't know if you could do this, but you have the gates. The gates, 2, the 7 of them. Chlok is exactly how many, but okay. These gates, the Sharim. And down here you have Sharon and Connor, which is also a gate to the Azara, but we're not talking about that right now. So they did 3. Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya, that's 3. V'teisha, L'tomid Shachar. Yeah, all the gates. All the gates are open. V'teisha, L'tomid Shachar. And 9 for the Tomid. In other words, they did 3. Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya. Everybody bows. And then they continue on the shir, whatever shir is. They say another perek. They get to the spot. They do again. Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya. It's separate. 3, bow, say something. 3, bow, say something. 3, bow. Okay. So that's 9 for Shachar, 9 for the Tamid, the carbon Tamid in the afternoon. And if there's Musaf, another 9. Uber Shabbos, Hoyu Moisifim Sheish. Erev Shabbos, there was another 6 tkiyas. Shalosh lahaftil sa'amim melacha. 3 to tell people to stop working. I want to point out a beautiful taisvis that reminds us that in Masechta Shabbos we learned that these 3 were not one after another. It was 1 to tell the people in the fields come back in. Much later, however long later, half hour later, let's say. Now we have to tell the stores to close. So they did a trua. And then later than that, they tell people, lichtbenchen, it's time to light candles. But they're not together. It's not 2. It's 2, and then you wait, however long it takes, and then you do the rest. Fine. That's why in Eretz Yisrael, we have the big, the music and this, it's l'zeicher to that, to those tkiyas. Okay. Finally, after you have those 3 and they're done with lighting candles, then it's Rabbi say it's already shkia. You can't do any malacha. Stop whatever you're doing. Erev Shabbos chag. Chag means Sukkahs. So Erev Shabbos and Sukkahs, there's 48. 3 to open up the gates. Now here's Shara Elyon. Right over here, it's another 3 because that's what we discussed. When you bring the water in, you bring it through, well, it goes through here, yeah? Where am I holding? Shara Tachter. V'shalosh down below, all the way in the bottom. V'shalosh l'mino yamayim. And 3, we had this, to fill up the water. V'shalosh al-gabi mizbeach. So Rashi over here says, gabi mizbeach means that when they put the arava up against the mizbeach, some say it's together with pouring. We'll see later. Not some. We're going to see the sugi later. Teisha al-tomit shachar. V'teisha al-tomit shabin arabayim. V'teisha al-musafim, which we had. Shalosh lahavdil samim melacha. V'shalosh lahavdil bein kodesh l'chol. Let's go a little bit weiter. Masnisin, the like Rabbi Yehuda. Our mission l'chor is not Rabbi Yehuda. It's not Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Hapoich is leivich is misheva. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's 7 times 3, which is 21. But we call it 7. Why? Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, tkiya, true tkiya, is 1 mitzvah, not 3 mitzvahs like Chacham. 16 times 3 is 48. But he calls it 16 because it's only 16 mitzvahs, not 48 mitzvahs like Chacham. Rabbi Yehuda saw about tkiya, true tkiya, achasi. He holds it's considered 1 mitzvah. My time at the Rabbi Yehuda, where did he get it from? So if you look at this pasuk right over here, it has it all. Ukatem trua shenis, trua yisko. So from over here he learns uskatem trua. You're blowing a trua. In other words, blowing is a trua. It's one of the same. It's 1 mitzvah. You can't separate the tkiya from the trua. Now, Rabban say no. it's going to say that you're supposed to do a tkiyah, then a truah. And if you look at the end of the pasuk, after the truah comes a tkiyah again. So that's how we know tkiyah, truah, tkiyah. And what's Rabbanan's reason? Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, when you gather Klal Yisrael, should we stop over here because it's getting late? And tomorrow I have to stop 2 minutes early, you said, right? I can do it. Let's do 1 more minute. L'kavet slichas. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, when you want to gather Klal Yisrael at any time, do a tkiyah, v'lo yisariu. Do not do a truah. So the Gemara says, according to Rabbi Yehuda, that tkiyah and truah is one mitzvah. What the Torah is telling you to do only half of a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. He's saying when you want to gather people, blow a horn and they'll gather. It's not Rabbana and Simanuhu, Rachmana, Shavi mitzvah. No, it is. You're right. It's a siman. It's a siman that Klal Yisrael should gather, but it's a mitzvah to do so, and you wouldn't break up a mitzvah, and therefore, obviously, a tkiyah is by itself, a truah is by itself. That's why the Torah says you can do a tkiyah by itself to gather people. Have a wonderful day.